Welcome back, everybody, to the Look Mum Hustling podcast. This is episode number 79.
Correct.
Yeah, we always have like a mad dash before. I'd be like, what episode is it? Is it 78? I thought it was 78 for a bit, but
You think
79.
it'd be easy to remember, but it isn't.
No, I've made a good trick of when I'm trying to find articles and stuff throughout the week, I just make a notes and the label's just like literally the number. So I just keep going up every time. So yeah. So
When you get into the thousands, I'm sure that's when it's like, is it
Yeah.
1,112 or is it 1,114?
the Joe Rogan level of just like, did we do that a couple of hundred episodes ago? I can't quite remember.
How many episodes is he up to now?
He's up to like 2,000, I'm pretty sure.
I think it's closer to
No,
3,000.
he's only just recently hit the 2,000, I think, from memory. Because he had...
Patrick Bet David was like 2016.
Yeah.
And the internet done immediately.
Oh,
Awesome.
I love that. Beautiful.
Troop
Awesome.
on anyway.
Okay.
A minute in, and it's already problem city. 2,000 episodes. That's pretty crazy.
I think I might have...
I don't think we'll ever get there, to be honest, because he does 4 of them a week,
Right.
3
Okay.
of them a week.
Okay.
So it's like, how many years would that be?
Yeah, but he would bank them, though. Like, he would bank, like, he has,
But he
like...
still does 3 a week.
Yeah, like, he talks about how he just, like, maybe do it... He probably does, like, 3 days in a row and then has, like, the rest of the week off.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, unless we're doing 3 a week, we'd never hit that number. Because
Fair enough.
2,000 at 52 weeks a year
Mhm.
is 38 years.
Right. Okay. That's a lot of time. Who knows if podcasting...
If you're doing 1 a week, that is.
Who knows if podcasting is even going to be around?
I suppose if you're doing, if you're doing 150 episodes a year,
Mhm.
which would be 3 a week, that's 13 years.
Okay.
So 13 years at 3 per week is 2,000.
Far out. That's heaps.
Are we
Did
ever
he-
going to get to a point where we're doing 3 a week?
Maybe. Who knows? Could do a 4 week. Has he always been doing 3 a week, or did he do
No.
no?
Probably, there's a transition probably almost like 7 or 8 years ago where he started going from like shorter 1-2 hour ones into 3 or 4. I know that Post Malone one you're listening to was like 4.5 hours.
Yeah, it was a really, really long one. They were like halfway through, be like, all right, should we change it? He's like, no, I'm having fun. Like, me
Because he used to
too.
live stream. All of his used to be live streamed. So
Right.
he was still is the godfather of podcasting. Obviously, there's a whole debate about people that came before him, Adam Carolla and people like that.
Yeah. Well, he calls who he says is because he calls someone else the godfather of
I think Adam Carolla.
is his last name not Corolla?
Oh, well, Tom Green came in way before that, but it wasn't
Yeah.
really a podcast.
Yeah.
But in terms of doing super long form and having YouTube as the main platform, he was the first for sure.
Right.
In terms of that global millions and millions and millions of views.
Successful, 100%.
Pretty crazy. I don't think it's going to work, baby girl.
No.
It's all good. We're just
fair
going to
enough.
have no Look Mum.
Logo on the back?
No, we're just going to have,
You could probably Google it, bring up a photo of us. Who knows?
that's a good idea actually.
Yeah. Might be able to just on a laptop. Is your pop filter a little bit skewed? It is too. All right. There was a little ASMR for there. People that...
Bring up the screen. We'll just have our Google images
Yeah.
as the backdrop.
There we go. That's fine. That's good plugs, right?
Well, this is kind of interesting to see how we're getting shown on
On Google.
Google, because there's 2 alterations we can make to the name. It could be Look Mom if you want to have more of a global impact. 'Cause I don't think Americans really know what mum with the U is.
They obviously know that's like the mum, because even in English is mom, isn't it? Mom.
And then hustling could just be an IN with a,
Yeah, hustling.
yeah.
Because I've done that when I've been just trying to search. I just don't worry about the G and it comes up anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just comes up more frequently. Apparently,
that.
we're looking for guests on matchmaker.fm.
Oh, really? Oh, I think that's
we
old.
signed up to that a long time
ages ago. Oh, Gucci baby, look ma.
Then we have the Panic at the Disco song. Look Ma, I Made It.
Mhm.
And then there's also a Travis Scott song called Look Mama I Can Fly, I think.
Look mom, Travis Scott.
I think it's a song.
Yeah.
Or his documentary is called Look Mama I Can Fly.
Right. Okay.
So maybe we should change it to an O and we might just like feed into the algorithm a bit more.
Maybe. Look mom.
Look Mom.
Look mom. But then
Look
people
Mom, we made it
click
to
on-
episode 79.
We did. Here we are.
Unscathed, or a little bit scathed.
A little bit scathed. It's just scraping through. Like one time we should just put like a camera in of just like the lead up, like the 15 minutes before we need to like sit down and record. Because we get a lot of people, if you happen to listen to us on a regular basis, you know that we get a dog walker. Usually we try to get them for an hour and a half. Sometimes it's an hour, but today was like an hour. I'm like, crap, we have like 10 minutes to set up the pod, to put in our articles and get going. It was like a mad dash for like those 10 minutes trying to run back and forth around the house.
It's not that stressful. It's a little bit.
No, it's not. It's just funny. You're like running around trying to get things organized, and Archie just keeps following us from room to room, being like, "What's happening?"
Well, we need to figure out when the next studio iteration will come.
Because I think we have every year, right?
I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to do on every year,
right?
I think we have to ride this one out for a while because it's pretty. I wouldn't say elaborate, but I mean, it's better than the last one.
Yeah, and we are using the biggest bedroom in the house for it as well.
That's true. Maybe some more depth would be nice, so we get further away from the wall.
I don't think we have a longer.
I think we go from this setup. Maybe, I mean, episode 100 will be in 21 weeks' time, so it's still like 6 months away. Maybe episode 150 we come in with a change. I think we need go couch mode for a little while.
Couch again?
We did get, I mean, individual couches. We need a bit of separation, you know.
Yeah.
Because this desk was potentially going to be for guests to come. We haven't reached out to a single guest.
No.
And I think that was going to be episode 100. We're kind of, I don't know.
It's crept up a little quicker than we thought.
I don't know if we're going to do that yet or not. Down the line somewhere, it'll help the show grow for sure.
Yeah. And just to be able to talk to interesting people and stuff. But
other than us, yeah.
Yeah, or when we were designing.
It's going to black out.
I was just going to say, when we were designing this room, we're going back and forth between a couch, a tall table, like small, like individual, like sofa little couches or accent chairs, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it was a bit back and forth. So we ended up opted for the table just to make it a bit more multi-purpose, but we generally don't really use this room anyway, other than like podcasting and stuff and sometimes recording videos. Yeah, so like maybe
we have
maybe
a table
a little couch.
at least.
Yeah, we do have a table at least. But yeah, maybe a little couch. Little cozy room, because what our old studio used to look like, every now and then like the old thumbnail and stuff will pop up of us just sitting on the low blue couch and with the ferns and stuff in the background that we had to buy like 3 separate occasions because they kept dying in that little dark room.
I thought we weren't going to talk about that anymore.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. It's been probably a good 20 episodes since we talked about it last. But yeah. That's
okay. Do we have any AI news today? Because if not, we're going to let people down.
Well, I don't think I have anything.
We just seem to be we seem to want to dig up from the internet these last probably 3 months now.
I try not to like bring up too much AI stuff now. Anyway, I just had like the dude that we talked about.
Very cognizant about too much AI talk. It's just It's crazy how fast this year's gone. Are you good, bro?
Yeah.
You're going to redo the. And even those episodes we did late last year, that was like 8 months ago. It's August.
Was that 8 months ago?
Well, obviously, do the math. January to August is 8 months.
Right. You're the math guy, not me. Keep going, keep talking.
No, because what you're doing is you're paying about 40% attention, and like to cover up your lack of attention, you're just acting more surprised than is necessary. You do it all the time.
No, like I'm generally like the surprise about their length of time.
Maybe because 8 months. August is 8 months.
Maybe because I'm just generally not paying attention.
Yeah, I think that's the problem.
And then I just be like, 4 weeks passed. What? Up to episode 79. What?
It's Thursday. It's 4 days ago. Wow.
No, it's Sunday now. As soon as it hits Wednesday, it's Sunday.
But yeah, it must be crazy if you do have a podcast. Because I mean, when you make videos, they're not really numbered. But the podcast, it's numbered and it's clear. It's a constant reminder of how long you've been doing it for, which is the interesting part, as opposed to, I don't know, if you're just working a job. So like you're going to work and you're logging in to your fingerprint scanner being, oh, this is day 768 at my job. Where if you did that, you'd be more aware of how much time you've spent at a job. And it might even make people want to shift roles or careers because it's a constant reminder of how long you've been doing something. So maybe
That's a good idea.
I mean, not for a company.
No.
Not for an employer because they'd be losing staff.
Yeah. Unless if you find your job super fulfilling, then it's fine.
Or even more so, how many hours you're working. Or how many lunch breaks you've skipped.
Yeah. That'll be a good one for me because I've been terrible at taking my proper lunch breaks. And my base is 40 hours a week at my normal job. And then I have the, 8 hours or 6 to 8 hours of like the side business stuff. But, I find that I've stayed, sometimes I'll stay back 15, 20 minutes or like 10 minutes. And that adds up throughout the week, like an extra hour.
Yeah, over the course of a year. What if they told you, hey, you've actually skipped 300 hours and you didn't get paid for those 300 hours?
100%. Yeah, I've worked 300 hours and didn't get paid for it. That's shit.
Probably wouldn't be 300 hours because that would be 6 hours a week.
So what's an hour times 52?
52 hours.
52 hours. I should have known that. That was so dumb. What's 1 times 52? Yeah. Oh my God, I should have known that.
But anyway. I mean, it's in the company's best interest to kind of disguise, not disguise. I mean, why would you want to share how many hours someone's worked? It's going to be depressing for the staff member.
Yeah.
But it could be a KPI. Not really a KPI because you're not like trying to improve that number, but more of a statistic on your payroll, for example.
Yeah. Because
it gives you how many hours you work, but it is giving you an accumulation of how many hours you've spent working for the length of the time at a business. Could be interesting to think about.
Yeah. What was that whole thing of like working more to be successful or just like working the minimum to be happy? Like it's one of those kind of like conundrums, right? So like there's this whole ethos that you've got to work like 1,000 hours a week, like hardly get any sleep and stuff.
I don't think there is 1,000 hours in a week.
Just say you got to work, 60 hours a week and maybe 80 hours. 80 hours sounds more dramatic. So 80 hours a week.
Dramatic.
Yeah. So 80 hours a week, hardly get any sleep. And like, that's the path to success.
Yeah.
Like, yes, that's generally the path to success, but like at what detriment, kind of like what's it going to be affecting?
Well, should you get an instant pay rise or an instant promotion if you hit 10,000 hours at a job? Because 10,000 hours, Malcolm Gladwell, you're an outlier. Potentially you could like, if you're in a sales role, you've done 10,000 hours of sales, technically you're an expert.
Well,
there is a benefit of, I could see, where if you let the employee know how many hours they've spent, how close they are to approaching that number, it could be an incentive for them to want to take it more seriously, perhaps, and try and climb the ranks.
Well, after 10 years, you do get long service leave.
Yeah, but you don't. Yeah, you're getting long service leave, but you're not getting. You get career advancement necessarily.
No, but you're getting paid, I guess, extra to take time off that you wouldn't normally get as part of your normal annual leave package.
But how many hours is that? How many hours have you spent to get long service leave?
So just like standard is 38 hours. So 38 hours times.
Okay, so 38 hours a week.
Yep, times 52.
Well, you're getting 4 weeks annual leave.
So times 48.
Yep.
Yeah, then times 10.
10 years.
Yep.
So it's
almost double.
Double the 10,000, 18,000 hours.
So you should get long service leave at 5 years.
I mean, if I was running a business, I would probably say no, horrible idea. But it's interesting to think about how much time is accumulated for a job. For example, I did a video last week on my main YouTube channel where I showed what I did for a week reselling on eBay, and I only spent 30 hours doing it. And you contributed to 4 of them. So I basically did 28-hour work week. And I'm like, we're pretty successful in what we're doing, but what would this look like if I did 60 hours?
Yeah.
Obviously less time for personal things, perhaps a little bit more burnout, but I can squeeze another 10 hours onto that easily and push it from 30 to 40. What does that look like on the back end? But then if you can somehow look at that over the course of 3 or 4 or 5 years and you can see this large number, it'd be interesting to see what changes you'd make. Because if you've done 10,000 hours and you're like, I haven't even climbed the rank or got a promotion or nothing, like what am I doing here?
Yeah, that's very true. Well, I'm year 17 at my job, so...
Yeah, so 38 hours, you've been full-time the whole time, right?
No, I was casual to begin with and part-time then full-time. But with like the way that long service leave works, it works like when your contract starts. So like whether it's casual or part-time, it just accumulates.
So how many years have you been
rate.
working full-time? 38 hours?
I would say...
Depressing number about to come up on the screen here.
Yeah, so 17, like maybe 13 years, I would say. Full-time?
14. 25,000 hours. divided by 24 hours in a day. Oof. You spent 1,000 days. 1,000 days.
Far out. So it's a big chunk of time.
Divided by 365. 3 years. Non-stop.
Yeah.
Imagine 24 hours a day for 3 years straight you have worked for a company.
I'd be dead.
24 hours.
Yeah. Dead.
3 years straight.
Dead.
It's
a long time.
It is a long time.
Yeah. 17 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And
People, it's hard to perceive when you're just going for the grind every day. It's hard to perceive this in terms of how much time you spend doing something. Sorry, every device is vibrating on the table here.
It's all good.
I think it's just an interesting thing to consider rather than looking at how many hours did I do today? How many hours did I work out this week? Like, what's it been over the course of a lifetime?
Yeah.
Because I remember probably when I was like 12, I was in the back of a car, someone's family or something, and someone said some statistic along the lines of we spend, I want to say 7 years waiting at traffic lights.
Oh, I've heard of that saying before. Like you spend 7 years waiting. Like waiting in line.
Is it just waiting in general?
Yes, yes. So waiting in line, waiting at traffic lights, waiting for like your dinner or lunch or something like that. So
I'm getting nothing but citizenship. 7
like just search on average, how long do people wait?
How long do people wait? Okay, we're getting sex advice.
Okay, a lot of sex advice.
Very different statistics. This one's saying 38 hours each year.
Right.
I mean, that means...
So that was like 38 hours waiting in traffic.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a really scientific article by any means or statistical.
Well, like if you took like 38 times, I don't know,
this
on
is
average,
all just
like
about
70.
how long to wait before having sex and my partner.
Maybe instead of waiting.
Do it the first
how
date,
long
obviously.
do people? How on average? How long do people waiting for?
Wait in lines. I mean, I could type it probably. Average wait time stats: 25% would only wait a minute or two maximum. I mean, that's
Spend time waiting.
on average 20 minutes a day. That's probably about right.
Okay.
Between traffic lights and all that sort of thing, waiting for coffee, probably 20. I'd say 20 minutes a day.
Yeah. Easy, because sometimes you find
all right, so 20 minutes a day times 365 times what's an average of 80 years.
Yeah.
So that's basically 500,000 minutes divided by 60 and then divided by another 60. 162.
Well, I had 260s.
Oh, sorry. 584. This is the horrible episode for people. 584,000 minutes.
Yes.
Divided by 60
is hours.
Divided by 24.
Yep.
405 days.
Yep.
And then divided by 365.
Like a year and a bit.
1 year.
1 year. Okay.
Where's 7? I mean, that was before Google. So that was people just making things up, right?
Was that old wives, like not the old wives' tale, but the things like,
we're debunking things. We should just have a debunking episode.
Well, it's like the whole, like that spider myth. You swallow 7 spiders in your sleep or whatever in your lifetime, and that's a myth. Like that was, I remember reading, that was one of those like internet tests to see like how things go viral and what people believe. Yeah.
Like the ones with like, what color is this dress?
Yes, yeah. The blue gold fiasco.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like there's people that do like these psychology tests to see like how they take on what people believe. And then, yeah, that spider thing was like one of those, like an infamous one.
I don't think, I mean, it's got to be rare to swallow a spider in your sleep.
100%. But people like then started like saying it verbatim, like you swallow 7 spiders in your lifetime in your sleep.
Like how many spiders do you reckon's in this house right now?
Oh, maybe like 5 or 6.
Really? I was going to say like 50.
Oh, probably little ones.
Like ones you don't see them, but like, yeah, little ones. Whether they're in the roof or in the under the floorboards or whatever.
I'd say, okay, 50, that's fair. We are in Australia.
Okay, so how many would be specifically in the bedroom?
Maybe like 20. No, actually probably like 10.
5?
Yeah.
And then how many are going to be roaming your bed? Like spiders, they're going to like look for insects, right? Insects, are they around at night? If they are, they're kind of going towards light,
Mm-hmm.
or they're on the ground rummaging for things. They're not going to be spiders aren't going to be on your bed.
Yeah.
I mean, why would they be attracted to a human's mouth?
Warm, moist.
Unless it smells like rotting flesh.
I hope not.
But spiders probably eat more alive things than do dead things. It's not that they're a scavenger.
And if anything, like if the human's like snoring, I don't think they're going to go anywhere near that mouth. Like,
so like the chances of you swallowing one and your mouth being open at the same time, it's just dumb.
No.
We could make one up right now.
Your hair can grow. Actually, this is a real fact. Your hair grows faster at nighttime than it does in the day.
Well, you're not playing the same game that I'm playing here. You're giving out real facts.
I'm trying to unless if that was like a fake one that I've just like believed throughout time. What can we say? You will. I don't know.
I know you're not creative when it comes to wacky things like this. That's the problem.
Well, you make up one then.
Your fingernails will grow twice as long if you don't drink water for a week.
Okay, yeah. And then you have all these
people are dying because
all these girls wanting long fingernails, and they
dehydrated.
I feel like that would be the opposite.
So, what was the conclusion? 1 year instead of 7 years.
Yes, yeah.
1 out of 80 is a lot, though. 1 year out of 80 years waiting.
It's a long time.
How can we avoid that? What tips would you give to avoid that? Well, my microphone's backwards again.
Yeah, always. You could, I guess, just do stuff. Yeah, not wait. Do stuff while you're waiting. So you double.
The star jumps.
Yeah, star jumps, or I don't know, like do a bit of research or read something, like so it doesn't feel like waiting.
Even worse, though, you're going straight to your phone. So then how many hours are you spending on your phone scrolling? It's going to be way more than 20 minutes. So this is actually kind of scary to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's use that as a standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you spend 20 minutes a day doing one thing, whether it's pooping, whether it's in the shower, over the course of 80 years, 20 minutes a day, it was one entire day.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the conclusion was, right? Yeah.
20 minutes a day for 1 year.
Yeah. It was 1 year.
Yeah.
1 full year.
Yes.
So what do you do for 20 minutes a day? Anything you do 20 minutes a day, every day, is 1 year gone. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee everyone listening to this right now is on their phones for more than 20 minutes a day.
100%.
So what is it how long do you spend on your phone on average?
Yeah, or like how long do you spend wasting on your phone?
Well, what's a rough number?
Probably
not even for you, just in general.
In a day, so just like that 20-minute can go, it'd probably be like 2 hours.
At least 2 hours.
Yeah.
So 2 hours, right? 20 minutes goes into 60 minutes 3 times. Mm-hmm. So for 2 hours, that's 6 times. So that's 6 years. Mm-hmm. That's pretty fucking crazy.
It's a long time. And there's some articles I remember reading because like I used to find myself like, I kind of like the term doom scrolling, right? Because you get just like stuck. So there's like a couple of things that you can do, like instead of like reaching for like Instagram or whatever, you do other things on your phone instead. So one is like clearing out your emails, like clearing out your photos, like just doing little productivity things on your phone. So rather than just, doing that social media route, you do something else that's productive on the phone.
Probably the most productive thing would either just be literally just Kindle.
Yeah, just reading. Yeah.
That'd probably be the most beneficial way.
Mm-hmm. Or like they say, get back to someone or something like that. Do have that little interaction. Yeah. But yeah, there's little things you can do. Like if you find, 20 minutes is heaps while waiting for coffee or traffic or whatever it is. Yeah. What do you do like when you're waiting to talk to someone? So you pick up your phone and you start scrolling or doing whatever. Like it's second nature.
What's more of a benefit? Scrolling and seeing what other people are doing, or playing or doing something that's going to improve your life or your brain activity, like Sudoku for 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, playing a little like chess game or whatever it is. Quirtle?
I love Quirtle.
Wordle?
Quirtle.
What's Quirtle?
It's Quirtle.
There's Wordle.
No, but Quirtle's better.
What is Quirtle? It's QAnon Wordle?
It's a much harder version of Wordle where you have to guess 4 words at once.
Okay.
So for example, I play this every morning, by the way.
Do you really?
Yes.
Oh, this is the first I'm hearing of it.
So five letters.
Yep.
And you're just doing 4 of them at once.
Right.
So first one I put in was break, and then the fourth block here, I've got 1 letter right, which is B. So I want to start with B, and I'm just going to write booms. Cool. And then that was no good. So I'm going to write blind. And you keep going down. Obviously, I don't have any green in the other ones.
Yeah.
So the ones that are yellow here, those letters are in this word, but not in the current spot.
Ah.
So it's just intense because you got to do all 4 in the one.
Right.
In the one, you get 9 chances. You got to do all 4 words in one rather than just the one.
So is there?
Attempt.
So is there an O, an E, an A, and an N in that particular one?
This first one,
Yeah.
There's an O, an E, an A, and an N. But what I do is the one that has the green, I'll work on the greens first.
Gotcha.
But as you can see, there's no vowels left. I've used I, O, A, and E, and it's not in there. So the only vowel left is U. So this word starting with B has to have a U somewhere. So it's probably maybe a B, R. R, it's not there. So B, U.
Can you do blunt? No, it would. The L would be highlighted, right?
Yep.
Buns, Bundy, Bunny, Bunny,
Buddy.
Buddy.
Boom.
Ah.
So then you just keep going down and do that. But then there's even at a deeper level, octurtle. So there's 8 of them.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Look at all these side little ones pop up.
But this is what I'm saying. This is what I generally do instead of. I still get into that doom scroll mentality, but I like to just test myself a little bit.
Yeah. And it's kind of like a smart thing to do something like this. And there's apps you can get that have like little mind games or like reaction sort of games.
Brain training. Nintendo DS, brain training is like one of the funnest things to play.
And that's actually kind of smart because whether it comes in, I'm not a scientist if you didn't know, but whether it's, trying to offset like Alzheimer's or dementia, like keeping your brain active is like a number one thing. So rather than just being mindless and scrolling, do like a little brain training one instead.
Yep.
Yeah. I might do the Quirt. That's fun. Quirtle. Is it an app or just a web page?
Just a web page.
Cool. Quirtle. That's fun.
We can go back and finish it if you like.
All right, let's do that.
It's just so boring for people that are listening.
It's fun for us.
Yeah, that's all we're here trying to do. Okay, so we've.
Does it restart or is it the same word?
If you're on your phone, it's just one a day. It doesn't change.
Yeah.
So it should technically have that stuff here already. So I'm just going to use the one we know.
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell?
So it changed it.
It changed it.
Interesting.
Usually it should just be the one thing each day.
Right.
Okay.
Can it go back?
Okay, well now I'm a bit.
Can you go back until your previous one? So go back again. It's going to load.
Oh, that's octurtle. Oh my god. Oh,
no, you lost it.
I've lost it.
Okay.
Anyway, Quirtle, get on it. Brain games.
Brain games. That's interesting.
Yeah, when you're on the phone, it will just refresh.
Gotcha.
So there's that, and then
Dawdle.
There is. Yeah, it's kind of boring. I'll leave it there. But word games.
Okay.
You play Scrabble, words with friends. My mum's a big fan of that.
You still love playing Upwords with you?
Upwords is pretty dope.
Yeah. So that's for those that haven't heard of Upwords before. It's like Scrabble, but you just get to put it on top of each other and change the word.
It's a lazy person's Scrabble. It's like, I'm going to change bun into sun, into fun.
Yeah. It's like if you want to do next level of Scrabble, you ban 3-letter words.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's a cop-out to do a 3-letter word.
There's a lot of 3-letter words.
Like, unless you're at the very, very end and you've only got a couple of, like, tiles or whatever left, then you can probably go to the 3, but I get, like, and to begin with, like, no 3 letters.
Interesting. All right. What news do we have this week, Sarah?
Well, I've got a couple of Did you end up... Actually, we didn't go through any of my articles last week. It was all your ones, so...
You have a voice too.
I know.
Like, I'm just clicking the buttons.
I know, but by the time we get to it, there's a few things. So what, you know what?
We talked about Tick Attack for 2 episodes ago.
That's true.
I didn't talk about my stuff that episode either.
Yeah, that's true. Does any of those headlines tickle your fancy? It's like anything that you might be interested in being like,
It doesn't matter about me. It's what do you want to talk about?
All of those. So it's one of
pick
those.
one and let's go down the rabbit hole.
Let's have a look here. So we don't really need to talk about X. That's fine. Maybe the Adam Devine one. So apparently,
I've seen this article. Yeah.
Okay, you don't seem interested. All right, let's go to let's go to something businessy and let's go to the Kickstarter CEO
Fuck
one.
business, man. Fuck business. Business, be here tomorrow, be here next week. It's fine. What do you want to talk about? Adam Devine. He says Marvel ruined comedy.
Yes.
And that's his opinion, and that's the end of the conversation though, right?
Pretty much, yeah, because he's just...
This is why I didn't want to talk about it.
But like, he's not even... Is he just cut because he's not in a Marvel movie?
He's not cut. He's just having a conversation like this with someone and then just said something off the cuff, and now it's a news article.
But he's like in like a really funny TV show.
But he's talking about movies.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just not his... I guess he would. His opinion would count because he's a comedy writer as well. Like he's done Workaholics and stuff like that. So he's got, I guess, some sort of leg to stand on. Like he's made comedy TV shows, he's made comedy movies and stuff. And then maybe he's just struggling to.
It's not like he's making a gigantic case of why the industry is fucked. He's just saying, what's he saying? Marvel ruined comedy.
Yeah.
And now there's not that many comedy movies coming out, and I wish there was more coming out. That's all he's saying. Which is fine.
But you have a lot of actors that say that Marvel ruined thing, but then you have a lot of ones saying that they've revived Hollywood.
Well, that's exactly right.
Two sides to the coin.
I mean, you can't get, taking a turn out of Workaholics lexicon, you can't get butthurt about these things.
Butthurt. It's a good one.
But I think also they were supposed to be doing a Workaholics movie. It got canned last minute. So, that could be a little bit of a butthurt situation there.
It could be. And like he's been in heaps of good classic comedies.
But the point is like it's just like not worth talking about.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair.
Just like, yeah.
All right.
And it looks like this, pretty sure this is from like over a month ago. Like when did this article get surfaced? 9th of August?
Which is yesterday. No, 2 days ago. Last weekend.
I'm sure he was on Theo Von's podcast literally a month ago.
Oh, it's from a month ago.
That's just how little stuff there is to talk about in media.
And they just like, we need something controversial.
It's a month ago.
Gotcha.
There's all this SAG strikes and everything right now.
So they need something to like fuel that agenda or whatever it is. Okay. Fair enough.
It's like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
It's a month ago. It's not, it didn't get released yesterday.
That's how, I guess that's a fair point why you can't trust media.
This is why I can't trust you to bring up good articles.
I did bring up some good ones.
But that's why I didn't want to talk about it. In a nutshell, I could have saved this whole 10 minutes spiel.
That's fair enough. And this is just a...
And this is like, I don't want to sound harsh or like, I don't care about your articles. I just know it's like not going to go beyond 4 minutes of conversation. Because it's like...
Don't want to sound harsh, but...
Well, I just know it's not going to be longer than 4 minutes.
Fair enough. That's I think 4 minutes is long enough for my attention span, probably.
Bring them on. We can fit 20 of them in each episode. All right, next up.
Let's get the Kickstarter CEO. What makes him successful? Essential skill set.
I see what you're doing. You're waiting for me to to read the title.
I need you to. So 34-year-old.
You need me to do what? What do you need me to do?
Just keep scrolling, but it's fine.
Well, read the.
Yeah, I'll read the headline.
So, what's the publication? Because we want to quote what we're reading, so we're not saying this is our opinion. We're quoting.
Mm-hmm. All right. So this is an article from CNBC.
It stands for.
Californian. Business.
Keep going. What's the N stand for?
Californian News and Business Corporation.
Oh, that could be pretty close.
What does CNBC stand for? Consumer News and Business Channel.
Yeah,
well,
I didn't think you got to. I mean, you just say business?
No, I said. Oh no, I did say business. Didn't I?
You got one. Yeah, 1 out of 4. 25%.
News,
not too bad.
All right, so 34-year-old Kickstarter CEO, which I didn't realize it was 34, which is our age. What are we doing with our lives?
35, but yeah, I'll take it.
CEO credits his success to 2 traits. They're an essential skill set. So this is one of those articles where they'll interview a CEO and be like, what made you successful? Or what do you credit your success to? So I got a fancy photo. So Everett Taylor, how he became CEO of a crowdfunding platform Kickstarter, he'll tell you, I got lucky. The 34-year-old spent a chunk of his teen and adult years battling homelessness and hustling to make ends meet. He says, he dropped out of Virginia Tech and founded an event marketing startup. Then he sold the company and landed a VP of a marketing job at another startup. I feel like this is how a lot of the CEOs go. They always go
homeless to riches, rags to riches.
Sort of like they either like have something to prove or they've, come from like a, they've come from a really, really tough beginning, but they jump from like startup to startup. Like it's...
Well, they're just stacking skills.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the point we were talking about before is they probably realize the job or the role, the company they're in, there's a limit, there's a capacity limit to how much they can do and expand before they need to go to the next thing in order to like have experience at 4 or 5 gigantic corporations to then take all those skills and wrap them into one business idea that they can then pursue and be the boss of.
Yeah. Taylor parlayed those experiences into a career in serial entrepreneurship and marketing strategy, ultimately helping him land the top job at Kickstarter in September 2022. So he didn't even start Kickstarter. He just took over Kickstarter. Because Kickstarter's been around for ages.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, didn't you read this article beforehand? But 2 soft skills helped him navigate that journey, he says. Empathy and risk-taking, which is a very common theme. Like you have entrepreneurs like Gary Vee and stuff like that always talk about empathy and always talking about like trusting your gut and stuff. What was the headline? So every failure is part of the puzzle. And that's a classic saying as well, like every failure is your greatest teacher to get there.
Doesn't make sense.
What, every failure is your greatest teacher?
Well, you can only have one greatest teacher.
Every failure is a teacher?
That's a bit better.
Every failure is a lesson?
I mean, it can't be the greatest every time.
There's only one greatest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan.
Muhammad Ali, he says he's the greatest as well.
No, he says I am the greatest.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Did he say it? Does he say I? Is he still alive?
I don't.
Wait, what the fuck?
I don't know.
Yes.
Is Muhammad Ali
alive? Wait, we're really cooked this episode.
Yeah.
2016.
Okay,
I feel like I would have remembered that. Did that just go under the radar?
No, it wouldn't have gone under the radar. It would have been a big...
That's not that long ago.
2016. It's almost 10 years ago.
7, but yeah.
Almost 10. Closer to 10 than it is to 5.
I don't remember him dying.
Don't you?
No.
Where were you in 2016?
Oh, I was finishing my degree.
Yeah, so you were knee deep into your like studies. You had no time. No time for that.
Huh.
Yeah.
I hadn't considered it until now. I wonder if after he finished boxing, instead of saying I am the greatest, he says I was the greatest.
It just depends, right? Because you have people that still say that Michael Jordan is the GOAT, right? Like the greatest of all time.
There's an argument now, though, because LeBron James has more rings.
Right. But like...
It's like who would win at their peak?
Right. Actually, I wouldn't know, like, at your opinion, who would win?
I'm not getting involved in this.
Who would win at their peak? Like, would it be Michael Jordan or would it be LeBron?
LeBron.
Oh. Because, like, I don't know.
Just the game's advanced. It's like saying...
But, like, Michael Jordan's got, like, the bloody, like, he's ruthless.
Yeah, but yes.
Like, he's got, like, it's one of those things, like, you've got skill versus grit, right? Like, sometimes you can have the skill, but, like, that grit and that, like, determination and that, like...
Well, there'd be no LeBron without Michael Jordan. So it's like you need one. It's like chicken before the egg.
Mm-hmm.
You need one before the other.
Fair enough.
The reason Michael Jordan is considered the GOAT, and he could be, like, at the end of the day, it's all subjective. It's just opinion. There's no... Unless someone puts together the most comprehensive statistical analysis to break down everything versus minute played versus the teams they were playing against, like literally every stat ever, then you can't really, there's no objective truth there.
Fair enough.
But the reason he was considered the greatest because there was no one remotely
in his
close
wheelhouse
for like 10, 20 years afterwards.
Yeah. Because when was Magic Johnson? He was before Michael Jordan? No? After? Okay. All right. I don't know my basketball very well. So like
Magic Johnson...
Because he's considered a really good player as well.
Close time. I think they played around the same time. Because Magic Johnson was... he had a notorious rivalry with... I should know this. Celtics dude.
Oh, the one that talks smack to everybody.
Yeah.
Um.
Oh, they did play at the same time.
Okay.
But yeah. Sorry, I'm not that. The thing is, I was so young back then,
Mm-hmm.
and we would never like watched basketball. Like I knew who these people were, but I never watched.
It was mainly like it was just referenced in all the American movies we watched.
Oh, we had sports cards and stuff, but I don't remember ever watching. I mean, we had Fox Sports, but we never really watched basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know everything. But the thing is, he was so far ahead of the second, third, or fourth guy, and even LeBron is now. But obviously, with age, you start getting.
You just get slower.
Well, slower, and you've already done and accomplished so much.
The only thing that would be your benefit, right, would be able to just keep that clear head when you're in the playoffs. Like you've been to the playoffs multiple times, you don't get stressed out by it.
It depends on the team as well. You need a good team. Anyway, back to Kickstarter.
Yes. So, like as a child, Taylor was fearless. At least that's what his mum tells him. As an adult, his approach to risk is more calculated. I take a step back and say that if I take this path or I take this other path, this is where my life is going to end up. So he almost like weighs up the options. My appetite for risk is higher because I know the impact that I want to leave on the world and the people around me requires taking chances. At Kickstarter, Taylor recently implemented a 4-day work week for his employees, a risk that comes with pros and cons. It can improve employee productivity, morale, according to businesses that have tried it. It also can hinder time management, those scheduling challenges, and cause burnout, which is really interesting things. You have a lot of employees that talk about having half days or talk about having a smaller work week to enhance productivity. I think I remember reading an article earlier this week as well that people that work in an office is more productive than people that work at home, but there can be counter arguments for that as well because there's time saved. It's always those things like I would love a 4-hour work week. I think I'd be able to get just the same amount of done in that 4 hour because of that time crunch than I would in a 5.
It's just there's so many variables. It depends on the job. There's more camaraderie and morale when there's a team setting in an office, for example. But it also can impact. It can. If it's some sort of place like marketing or something where there's a bit more of a creative aspect required,
like a collaboration,
collaborative effort can help. But if it's literally just a call center on the phones, then all you're doing is taking time away from making and breaking deals.
Well, it's I think it's like the whole Carl Newport thing. Like if you get distracted, it takes you like 10, 15 minutes to like get back into. Yeah,
that comes at a huge cost for a company. So it depends on the company. Next section says empathy is an essential skill set. So Taylor uses his childhood as a reminder to approach all situations, whether personal or professional, with empathy. So the quote says, the ability to put yourself in the shoes of your customers or your potential customers is literally the essential skill set that a marketer has to have. And as a leader, your ability to be able to empathize with the people that work with you and work for you is essential. So empathy, understanding what someone is going through and catering, I guess, your response or how you approach things with them in mind, with their problems in mind. It's very important.
Well, I think it's like whether it's you're a CEO or not a CEO, like empathy is such an essential thing to have throughout life. Because if you don't have that ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and switch that perspective, then all you're ever doing is seeing your reality, your path, and you don't have any of that like kind of outside influence. So it's that ability to be able to just switch that mindset and just be like, hey, let me hold on for a second and learn from this experience and, see from their point of view.
Well, imagine running a business without even remotely considering
anybody else.
Anybody.
Yeah.
There's no way to be effective.
No.
You have a bit of success here and there, but if you're using your brain, not thinking about how your employees are involved or how your customers are being or receiving your product or service, how could you possibly grow?
No, it'd be
unless you're like the Gandhi of ideas.
Yeah. It almost sounds like a tyrant, right? Like my way or the highway. I'm not listening to anybody else. Yeah. Which is, a very, very interesting thing. So even like someone as great as like Steve Jobs, he was very much like with his employees, very much, seeing from their perspective. He was very much like I need to see it from a different point of view. Then you have like people like Elon Musk that say that he's like not a tyrant, but like he's very much like it's my way. Do it my way.
I mean, who really knows though?
No.
Unless you're openly, keeping journals or minutes from meetings and like saying, okay, how are we going to like empathize with this customer, or how are we going to improve the experience because they're dealing with this or this? There's no real way of knowing what comes internally and what choices and decisions are made from external factors.
Yeah. He has his hand in so many different pies, which requires like a different mindset for each. So like depending on what business he's working on, whether it's like Tesla, X or whatever it is, SpaceX, he's going to be like a different person depending on like.
Well, I suppose they all have different teams.
Exactly.
Well.
Yeah. And that's like a big thing as well. Like when you're a CEO, when you're a manager, and you have multiple people and multiple teams, you need to be able to adjust yourself to make them work their best, like set them up for success, make like they call it like high achieving teams, right? Like you need to be able to adapt your style and your approach to make sure they're successful, because if they're successful, you're successful.
Or you have to also rely on them wanting to succeed. You're relying on them to have a same mission statement or believe in the same purpose.
Well, that's like the whole line. We even talked about like purpose statement for a business ages and ages ago, and we're talking about like Nike versus Adidas, and like that was one thing that made Nike really, really successful, was having that aligned purpose, having that aligned business goal, having that like statement that everybody could fall behind and work towards.
Yeah.
Like
and it's okay to change that. I think you can get caught up, whether you're the smallest thing ever, like we're growing, or a gigantic business like one of those that you just mentioned. You can always change. But having a strategy, and especially using that example, is having empathy. If you're going to change or you're going to adjust or pivot in some capacity, being empathetic to the people on the other end or the people that are helping you achieve that is like has to tie into the mission statement. So interesting convo about business.
Yes.
TikTok is allowing podcasters to upload podcasts.
Oh, what? When was this announced?
August 6th.
All right. So wait. So video links, podcast episodes.
I haven't actually read this yet. I just seen the headline.
You're doing to me.
I'm doing a Yubi.
Because I was about to, before I was going to, you know how when you tell me something and then I start bombarding you with questions, you're like, I've only just read about this. When we watch movies, I'll be like, oh, what's the deal with this and this and this? You're like, I'm literally watching it the same time you are. I know as much as you do.
I haven't been Googling whilst watching.
So I'll hold off my questions so we can discover them together.
So this is from OPP Today.
Today?
You're going to ask me what OPP Today stands for?
Opportunity Today.
You're probably right.
Maybe. Sounds about right.
Sounds like it looks like a
Opportunity?
like a crappy website.
No, but look at these images mid-journey.
They're all mid-journey images.
Is this your blog?
Let's go away from Op Today into something that looks more...
You don't want to do
BGR.
Moving 92.5 people?
BGR, what's BGR stand for?
Big Green Radio. Business, something. I think we've looked it up before and I can't remember.
No. Okay.
So tell me about this one.
So I haven't even read this yet. I just seen the headline and I clicked it.
Read it to me, baby.
All right, from BGR.com. Now, TikTok wants to be a podcast app. Interesting.
Wants to be or is going to be?
Is going to be, because I think now the X is kind of wants to be an everything app.
Gotcha.
There's going to be more we've gone from Apple Podcasts to Spotify to YouTube. X are going to have that. And now TikTok are like, fuck yeah, we'll play along.
Yeah, we just want people to stay on our app for the longest.
So apparently everyone's plan is to become... Apparently.
Sorry.
We need a soundboard. We should get a soundboard.
Apparently. That'll be actually fun. Get a little soundboard. I think you would enjoy it way too much. You probably have
the foghorn.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Sorry.
Apparently, everyone's plan is to be a podcasting app eventually. The latest app with the desire to break into the podcast industry is, as weird as it might seem, TikTok. In a post on X, Brett Dashevsky posted an image of documentation that the company is apparently starting to share With some creators on the platform, the feature, which has yet to roll out to everyone, would allow a creator to link their post to an episode of their podcast. In order to enable this, users will need to link their RSS feed of their podcast to their account. Once linked, they'll be able... So this is probably obviously for listeners that have a podcast. Otherwise, no one cares.
Yeah.
Cares to us, though, so that's all that matters. Once linked, they'll be able to choose an episode and then choose post to link to it.
Okay.
So same as how Instagram Stories just has that link function.
Gotcha.
Your feed's already attached to it. So we could, for example, do a clip of this episode and then just have a direct link to the full version.
Gotcha.
Basically how you would put a link in the description of a YouTube short. It would just be a visual link like on Instagram Stories.
Yeah.
But for TikTok.
Yeah, so check out the full-length video here.
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
Users will be able to listen to the entire episode while staying in the TikTok app. So that's kind of the interesting part. It doesn't take them out of the app.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. So what would you... Because it says add the RSS feed. RSS feed is not taking you to YouTube. It's just going to your audio player. So how would this work for the screen? What would the user experience be for on the screen of TikTok? A blank screen with just the audio playing?
Right. Like my understanding is this is like you could still be on TikTok while listening to the podcast, but again, that's like two audio things.
Going at the same time.
So unless it just like takes it to like that person's page, maybe, and it just like sits on the page.
But this seems like weird.
Super weird. Like, why could you wouldn't be using TikTok as the same time as like listening to a podcast? No. Unless it's just something that you have in the background.
And
just
shut
like
the app down.
Yeah. That's a bit weird.
Interesting move. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
No.
This is back to the article. This is, of course, great for TikTok if it can convince people to stay within its app when listening to podcasts. TikTok is definitely not feature-rich when it comes to podcasts, and it's still unclear if the audio will cut off if you close the app. There you go. We just looked into that. This is just the author's opinion. Of course, TikTok could add features over time to try and bake a podcast app into the currently heavy video experience. It's weird because TikTok is a visual platform.
Yes.
If you could upload the full version like we do on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, obviously, thank you. Like and subscribe. Or audio version, just comment.
Or leave a review.
Rating and review. Thank you. It's a plug for the week. If you could upload a vertical version to TikTok, but they probably don't want to have hour-long videos on their servers.
No, like that's not what you go to TikTok for, right? So it seems very bizarre. It seems like they just want to like jump in on the bandwagon and just like not miss out, just have it there sitting in the background. So it's probably going to be like, you know, when you go to share like the podcast link of like Spotify and stuff to Instagram, it's just like a nice like vertical kind of square. So that's probably what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
But then again, like
no one's going to listen for more than a few minutes.
No, that's not what they come onto TikTok for. They want that short form gratification, scrolling through, getting those like, 20, 30-second hit sort of videos. They don't want to listen to an hour-long, 3-hour-long thing on TikTok. That's not what they're there for.
Yeah. Even if people did.
Yeah.
That means you're choosing to consume, or a person that's watching is choosing to consume a longer 30-minute thing as opposed to watching 100 TikToks. So everyone else would be suffering, if that makes sense, because they're getting less views.
100%.
But I don't see the use case or the way users use TikTok shifting towards watching podcasts or listening to podcasts on TikTok. Doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, we talked a few weeks ago about time flies so fast, probably 3 months ago, about how all the apps were cutting out different features and then just sticking to their guns. And now it seems like TikTok's reversing that.
Yeah.
And X now is going to add everything as well. So maybe we jump the gun. Everyone is actually just going to add everything. Yeah,
like an all-in-one type thing. It's like, again, it's one of those sayings that seem to be full of sayings today, like too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, I don't see this working, but again, I don't see what's, the projection for these apps and stuff in the future. Unless it's just like one way to serve the creators, be like, yo, like put your clips up and here you go. You can link out your full length episodes so people know they exist. Because like short form, like short form podcast clips are really popular on TikTok. That's how a lot of people sort of find that growth kind of thing. Same as like
I can understand
Reels.
the click through to get the full episode, but if it's just audio, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and if they're saying they don't know if the audio is still going to work when the app is closed, then what's the point? If it's that audio feature.
I think it's not going to work.
No. Be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what else we got?
I think that's about it. Like we'll need to.
Started watching an interesting show last night on Netflix without you.
Well, it wasn't the uninspired unemployed thing though.
No, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. What was this show?
Painkiller.
Right. Who's in it?
It's a pretty hectic cast, actually.
Is this something you're going to be upset that you started to watch without me?
It's not a documentary, but it's partially fictionalized.
Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, Broderick. It's a true story, but obviously like with a bit of fiction added into it.
Yeah.
About the Oxycontin. What?
Is it like that drug, like the opioid crisis?
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
And
is that Sean Penn as well? That's a different thing.
Else.
Yeah.
I'll play a trailer.
Yeah.
But basically it's about the epidemic. It's actually interesting. I knew a couple of people that were pretty addicted to it as well. And about the legal battle and how it became so widely available because all they basically employed.
Right.
Basically, the story is this company called Purdue Pharma had wanted to produce a painkiller painkiller product, a tablet, and it was way more addictive than like heroin,
right?
And it just got widespread, and it was like it's more about the marketing behind a huge product with like severe consequences.
Yeah,
and they employed all these like young, pretty smart women to go to doctors and
oh my god,
all the doctors and sell the products and stuff.
Well, it's like it's in America and New Zealand are the only countries where you can advertise drugs on TV.
I am an investigator with the U.S. Attorney's Office. You lie, you hurt people, you go down.
You ever prosecute a company as big as Purdue Pharma?
All of human behavior is essentially comprised of two things.
So Matthew
Run
Broderick's
from
the
pain, run
CEO
toward
of the
pleasure.
company.
Pain, pleasure, pain, pleasure. If we place ourselves right there, between pain and pleasure, we will never have to worry about money again.
Pain is no longer something we have to tolerate. We have an answer.
How can something legally prescribed be killing so many people?
Tell me what words you associate with oxycodone.
Oxy what?
So it's just like viral marketing, and it became so popular that it took like 10, 15 years for like so much addiction to take place and so many deaths before all these court cases and civil class action lawsuits.
That's giving me the chills, man.
Great show. I think I'm 2 episodes in.
Every time. Watch it without me. I would like to.
Great acting.
That.
Yeah, it's just not really fun. It's kind of sad.
No, but it's quite relevant, right? Because it's like there's a literal crisis happening, like in the world or even in America, of like the opioid.
Well, it's like everyone's going to experience pain at some point. So how can we sell to as many people as possible? And then obviously you'll make a tablet that anyone that suffers from any sort of pain, can basically take, but it's more the addicting factor. Yeah.
There's a good movie. It's like Jake Gyllenhaal and I can't remember the other actress, whereas like he sells like drugs, like stuff.
Limitless?
No, he sells it to like doctors' offices and stuff. It's called like The Love Drug, I think.
Okay.
And it's just like a really interesting insight of like how they go around to doctors' offices and sell drugs and stuff. Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you for listening. Episode 80 next week.
Yeah. See you then.
See you guys.
All right, bye.